Hello again. Welcome back, everyone. This is Aluminum Tarot. Thanks so much for joining today. We are now set to do the sign of Virgo, Sun, Moon, Rising. And I'm doing this today on, I think it is August 9th. This is the full moon in Aquarius that is now outside, bright orange and fiery, like the rebellious spirit it is. So let's give a kudos to that for all you Aquarians who are influenced by Aquarius or who have Aquarius in your chart. Uranus in the first house, so that does give me a little bit of a rebellious streak ever since childhood. And so there you go. If you are trying to manifest something and break free from the chains of oppression in any way, shape, or form, this is for you. Enjoy the full moon. So we're going to go ahead and go on to Aquarius. I mean, not Aquarius, Virgo. We're going to talk a little bit about what's going to be taking place over the next 30 days for our Virgoians. I'm a Virgo moon, by the way. And after that, just give a little bit of advice or an oracle message, and then we'll wrap this up. Try to make it nice, simple, and easy for tonight. So that said, I'm not even going to get into the other astro transits. I guess you can look those up on your own. I'm going to use the Wild Unknown Tarot to talk a little bit about Virgos. Okay, Virgo, Sun, Moon, Rising for the month of August 2025. Virgo, Sun, Moon, Rising for the month of August 2025. Stop it. By the way, I know there's been some audio issues as of late, especially with these earbuds, and I am going to order I think either a condenser or a dynamic microphone, probably a dynamic, so that I can get better sound quality for the recordings for these tarot readings. That said, let's get started. Now, let's challenge Virgo. Rapidly Virgo's recent thoughts. What is in Virgo's near future? What is at the crown, at the core of Virgo? What is at the core of Virgo's energy? What is at the crown? And what is the likely outcome for August 2025? Clarify, please. Okay, so we have here Ten of Pentacles. This is what you are trying to call into your life. This is what you don't see coming, actually. And you are trying to manifest a legacy of sorts, or to improve your finances, or in essence, to try to gain more out of life that is of lasting permanence rather than something that's a fly-by-night kind of connection. Or you could even you could even potentially be trying to get married, whatever the course of Ten of Pentacles takes in your life. That is what you're trying to call in and trying to manifest. We just recently had Lionsgate, so this is going to be of significance if that's something that you've been trying to manifest for this period in time in your life. That said, we're going to look into how this is taking shape for the month of August 2025. So right now you have the Strength card. This is Leo. We are currently wrapping up Leo season, and this card is going to be of deep significance for you. You can even see the sun above this card, and you do see that there is an infinity signal here, or infinity symbol here. What this does, this represents the number of 8 laid on its side, and this shows the perpetual motion between the positive and the negative, constantly operating in our lives. So that way we can, you know, bring things about. Of course, our entire universe is made up of positive and negative forces, or at least what they call dialectic forces, two opposing forces that in their motion together, they create the essence of all things. And so, you know, whether it's physics or philosophy, things like that, this is how we bring things into being by synthesizing new ideas from two opposing forces. And that's probably what you're having to deal with now. That's where the strength comes from. And, you know, in the occultic sense, you know, you have to deal with essentially a challenge that comes along and pulls out the strongest parts of you. And for many people, they say, yeah, it's holding on energy, or, you know, you have to be patient energy, or it's taming the beast energy. I see the strength card as more than that. I see it as an ability to resist the things in your life that oppose you and what your true essence is. That's why you have the lion there. The lion is Leo. Leo is the essence of the individual self and its ability to shine within the world at large, in the universe itself. So it's you almost resisting or trying to temper yourself as you undergo these difficult challenges. And that's what the strength comes from. When the strength, or when the challenges become too much. After those challenges, we go into card number 9, which is the Hermit card, which talks a lot about going in and trying to understand either the best strategy to overcome those challenges or the lessons that we learned from them, and then applying them to the real world as the Wheel of Fortune goes into the 10th, you know, which is the 10th card, goes into effect in your life. In this, we have the challenge, which is the 7 of Wands in the reverse. You're in the strength as your particular energy right now. But what we understand is that you're nearly at your breaking point. And so with these set of cards, it's pretty challenging. You realize that you've held on as long as you can to a specific situation, and now you feel like no more. I need a rest. I feel like giving up. And it's hard for me to defend what it is that I'm trying to preserve at this moment, whether that's a relationship, a job, whether that's something that you're trying to fight strongly for so that you can realize it in the material world, which could be an idea, a business idea, you know, a dream of yours, a bucket list item, even if that's the case. But whatever it is you're trying to call into the world, that is what you're trying to have the strength to carry on in order to make this fulfilled. And that's a very difficult thing. You know, I like to talk a lot about things as if I'm speaking from the magician's point of view, because I am a number 10. I'm a number 1 life path. So that is, that talks about the Wheel of Fortune, which is the number 10. That is number 1. That is the magician, number 1. And that is the sun as well. So those are my 3 tarot cards for my life path. We talk about the essence of this in this particular reading. I could say this is a Virgo myself, you know, Virgo moon, but it is a difficult act to manifest something. We look at the birth process in which a child is brought into this world. From the beginning, from conception to birth, it is a painful journey. In the death process, it's the same. From death into rebirth, it is another difficult, painful process. That is what you're going. That's what you're going through, and that's what you're facing. Because we do have the death card somewhere later in this reading. In the recent past, you had the 8 of Swords, and we see here. I'm going to hold these 2 cards up. This is your past, and this is your future. Look at this and see the significance in that. You have in the recent past the 8 of Swords in the reverse, meaning you're overcoming this difficult energy that keeps you locked up inside your brain. Maybe you've undergone something which has set off into motion a lot of worry in your mind, in your way of thinking. And you see in this card, the chrysalis right here, where the butterfly is emerging from that. And I see that very significant in this card being upside down, because now you're emerging from your cocoon. You're allowing the swords within your mind to, you know, fall off. It's almost as if when you emerge from this chrysalis, all of the things that have been holding you back are now starting to fall off piece by piece. And this is where you emerge in the near future, which is the Six of Wands, which is a beautiful card right here. Because what this says is that you have overcome those difficulties and those obstacles that have been plaguing your mind. Now, me being a Virgo moon, the moon is the symbol of not just the emotions, but also the mind itself. And so we process things through our perceptivity and our ability to, internalize information through the mind. And based on our own perceptions, that is how we see these things. I see you kind of letting go of a lot of those misconceptions, which have been plaguing your brain. So, like if you say you can't do something, you convince yourself that, it's not for me to speak up. It's not in my right to save up for this thing that I care about. Maybe I should just play into the status quo. That's all falling away. You're emerging from the Eight of Swords to the Six of Wands. You're going from air energy to fire energy. These are complementary. However, in the fire energy, you're taking action rather than in the air energy, thinking and thinking and thinking. So it's almost like this reading is teaching us we need to come to a point in which we're taking specific action on the things we have set our goals to. And perhaps we can actually ask the question, what is it that you've been trying to do that involves this? What is this about? So we have the Temperance card. You've been out of balance. And it could have been out of balance based on any specific thing in life. If I pull the cards, pulling several cards. The first is the Ten of Swords. This is what you're bringing back into balance. You've gone from a period where it's finally the end of a betrayal, moving forward into learning how to take the next step in your journey. So from the end comes new beginnings, but it's up to you to make that beginning by taking the first steps towards it, the Fool card. And then finally, making a firm decision to do so. Two of Swords in the reverse. And so what you're doing now is you're taking action on something where you have been almost possessed by inactivity or the inability to proceed out of a difficult situation. And this can take place in many ways. Look at it, how it applies to your life specifically, and then you can go from there. What I also see here at the very core of your reading, when we have the temperance is also a little bit about being patient and understanding that there are ways that we can materialize things as we're manifesting. It is about a constant period of give and take. The Temperance card is the Alchemist card because it is Archangel Gabriel pouring two chalices with the delta right in its chest. It's signaling that there is a level of change taking place. So that said, it can be almost very difficult and impossible for us to wait on these changes to take place and be able to get through this portal. And at your very core, what you're worried about is that this will not come to pass. And it can be very difficult to try to have the patience and the tolerance to make these things come to pass. If you've started a business and you're not seeing any profit, you can think to yourself, oh, well, maybe I fucked up somewhere. Maybe I did not do the business the right way. You have been trying to look for a romantic partner and you say, well, maybe the whole dating pool is poison. That could be possible. But what we want to see is rather than allowing our perception to guide our outcome, we need to create the perception, and then that in turn materializes in the real world. There are a lot of people who say, like, you have to um, step into the energy of what it is that you want in order for it to take place. And that could be quite true. Rather than thinking that you can't, know that you will. This is what is known about the situation, judgment. That is what you're waiting for. You're waiting for an actual judgment in your life. You get the phone call and you hear that you've got a new job. You're getting, the positive match on whatever dating app they use. If people are still using dating apps, I really don't know. Um, you, you ask for a raise or a promotion, and maybe that does actually come through. You finally get to play the part in your favorite play. If you're working in Broadway, I don't know, whatever it is that really matters to you, that is where you are trying to take it. And that is precisely what you want. You want that calling that is going to affirm or validate specifically what it is that you've been trying to call into existence. And this has been a lot of the themes that have taken place along this 8-8, which is the Lionsgate portal. And you had the Lionsgate portal yesterday. Today, as of recording this, we have the moon in Aquarius, full moon in Aquarius. And then after that, tomorrow will be the last day before we move out of this Mercury retrograde, which has had my mind in an absolute tizzy right now because I'm dominated heavily by air, and I'm also got a bit of Mercury in my chart. Virgo moon, Virgo being Mercury, and then Mercury in Gemini, which is double Mercury, opposite Uranus, which is all makes my brain all over the place. So if I ever have ADHD, and you can see it in these readings, that could be a big possibility right there. I haven't confirmed it, but you know, it is what it is. That said, we're going to move over to the final bits of all of this. So we have Death in the reverse, and then we have the Four of Pentacles in the reverse. I'm getting the expression that you are being dragged, you're being forced to change, you're being dragged kicking and screaming into the new you. You realize that failure is not an option. And for you, it's going to be very important that you drop those Four Pentacles that you're holding on to, which is an adherence to the past. Whether you like change or not, this is going to have to happen. So if you are moving to a new place, you're going to have to move, and you're going to have to say goodbye to the old. If you're changing jobs, you're going to have to say goodbye to the old and then allow for that new to come in. It's going to be tough, but I see you doing it anyway. You cannot hold on. You have to let go. We're going to get an oracle message here, and then that was weird. Getting an oracle message. I didn't even shove the cards hardly. And this flew out, so I guess we're going to read it. No matter what happens to this bloody channel, I do say that I liked my job because it is a constant reminder that the divine is with me in this journey, how sporadic it may be. Surrender to the divine. We just talked about that in the outcome cards. Four of Pentacles in the reverse, Death in the reverse. Surrender. And that is going to make everything work out all right. Virgos have a tendency to worry. I know that's the cliche behind many of the Virgo crew here. But what I can definitely say is that once you learn how to surrender, we do have the full moon. I am reading this on the full fucking moon of Aquarius. And this is now our time to say, surrender to the divine, allow this new era of your life to step into play. and make that change. And yeah, no, I can hear that in my brain. Like I'm listening to Michael Jackson's "Man in the Mirror," but I'm not going to sing that right now. You know, you can just look it up on YouTube and you can listen to that and the lyrics within it. That I'm going to leave it at that. Thank you so very much for joining today. This is Aluminum Tarot. If you like what you see here on this channel, please be sure to give a like, share, subscribe, ding the notification bell so that you don't miss any updates from future postings. And additionally, um, yeah, watch out for scammers. That's really it. That's all I ask for. I don't do any more personal readings. I'm just going to build this channel back up after a long hiatus um, and see where we can go from there. But thank you so much for your time and attention. I appreciate it. And until then, until next time, love and light. All the best.